Perfect. Had to get little bumper music to get things started this morning. Who you can't hear? Bring him up for me. He's on 3, I think it was. There we go. Bring him up for me. Go ahead. Try that again.
Hello. I hear you just fine.
He's on 2. I'm on 3. So he's on 2.
You're on drugs.
Well, go ahead.
Hello.
Keep going.
I'd say grab a new mic because these ones are up all the These
Yeah,
ones are
everything
up all the way.
All right.
That one might not be plugged in.
Grab one below you then.
Okay. Let's see. Number 4.
Try that.
Are these new also?
Try that.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
I was going to say.
Kick me down just a hair.
I was going to say some things change and some things stay the same
Nah,
in
it's
WJOB.
14 years, and like I said, first question I asked was, are these still the same headsets?
Now you're wearing the one that probably is the same one you wore.
It's the same one. Wait, hold on. Yep, it's the same one, all right. Woo, boy, oh boy.
Good morning. So as we like to say, I'm putting the band back together. I wanted to bring back some of the old faces and voices of WJOB throughout the summer of Chuck and Bob Starkey. He's down at the Disney World. So I said, who can I bring in? I said, you know what?
Who can replace Bob Starkey?
Who can replace Republican Councilman Bob Starkey?
I don't know. Just call that dude.
I just started going through the phone book, and then I got to the K's, and I found Larry the K.
You said, well, actually, it would be the T's.
The T's?
The K.
You're under the
Larry.
You're under the.
Yeah, exactly. Good morning, everybody.
Hey,
Larry the K here at
Larry
WJOB.
the K. How long has it been? That long, huh?
March of 2014 is when Jim started making the hard push to move here. So I missed all that. It was after Final Four. It was after Final Four, March of 2014, I believe. Yep.
Well, I for one have missed you.
I missed you too, Chuck.
Well, thank you. So we had, like for instance, you used to do a show with my buddy Big George.
Mm-hmm.
The Boys in the Back Room. Was that?
The back room. The back room with Big George and Larry the K.
And then you go back to you were doing stuff with the Preacher, right? Did you do Preacher stuff or
what happened? Just a quick
Yeah.
history. Is this the live camera here?
Yeah, that one.
This one, okay. Just a quick trip back here. I had been working as a high school teacher, as happens. Sometimes you get let go, and being a social studies teacher, if you don't coach sports, which I don't, or I'm hesitant to, you really don't, it's hard to get a job as a social studies teacher. So I started listening to WJOB, who I had been listening to pretty much nonstop since the 2008 flood. And just got in with Rick Kubik. I was chatting with him on his show, Music Underdogs, and I just kind of fell in. He asked me one day to produce for him, which I didn't know what that meant. It was answering phones, which wasn't bad.
Matt, you know how that feels, right? It's like, hey, come produce. What does that mean?
What does that mean? You're going to be a radio star, kid. Come on.
Do traffic and weather.
And and it just fell in. I think Jed liked me, I think. He'll call in if that's not the case. And it turned into a nice little 3-year off-ramp from the career, as it were. And that working for WJOB has helped me. It's helped me meet a lot of good people. Got to interview a lot of good people. And then at the high school I'm at right now, I am the voice of their sports for the most part, basketball and football.
See, if you can't coach, you can be the voice of sports, though.
Well,
isn't
that's
it?
it.
Job security there.
That's the thing. So when we do our games, I always try to put 100% into it, because you never know who's out there, who the next Jim Deedlow is out there, or somebody looking for a voice.
Right.
So
you do have a nice sultry voice.
Sultry?
Your sultry voice.
Really, Chuck?
You do? Yes.
That's nice, Chuck.
You could be doing one of those Loveline shows in the evening.
Are those things still happening?
I don't know if
Why
those
does
are still.
WJOB do a Loveline show?
That would
Could
be
you
fun.
imagine?
I would. Well,
another show for people to call into.
Is this a new show?
Is this a new show? Yeah. Oh, Gloria. I miss Gloria so bad sometimes, man. Oh, man. Oh, but how have you been, sir?
I've been good.
Good.
You and I got together last week because
Yes.
you said, hey, we need to. And did you bring your notepad?
Content. We needed
yes,
content.
you're like we need to discuss content ahead of time.
Yeah.
Even though that's not how news works. By the time we got in here, it's already all changed because.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's you gotta keep up with it.
So I figured. So I know you listened last week. I figured after last week, I butted heads with our usual, sort of Republican callers on a few issues. Today will be no different. So I figured, why not just bring in Larry and just go full force on this?
Why not? Why not? Now remember, I got to go do summer school, so I can't get too heated up.
Yeah, no, you got to. Yeah,
you got to deal with the kids too.
You should tell them to tune in for bonus points. Like tune in and let's talk. You should have done that.
I should have told them.
But we had a lot going on in the news. So we had we have this big beautiful bill, which is big and not very beautiful. We had debate all weekend on that. You and I wanted to hit a few other things. I was curious. I wanted to talk to you specifically. One of the things that one of the reasons I wanted to bring you in today was to talk about sort of your perspective on, I know, for instance, you attended one of the No Kings rallies a few weeks ago, and I wanted to get you in and talk about that. Again, as sort of the token libertarian guy, I'm always, I'll agree with people on one side to a point, and I'll agree with people on it's like, okay, I can follow you on this. And like last week, for instance, with the Republicans, we were butting heads because I was like, I've seen this whole bombing for peace thing. The president wants to cut the debt while blowing off expensive bombs.
Right.
We're just a limited action, just dropping a few bombs, get in, get out. I've seen that storyline play out before 20 years later in Afghanistan. So, there's all these things going on, and I find myself like, okay, I'm with you, and then now I'm out. This big, beautiful bill is a perfect example of that. I'm like, okay, you're putting this thing together, you're trying to cut some spending and things like that, and then, oh, by the way, you're basically just cutting off old people and adding to the debt. So it's kind of like, okay, this is my off ramp. I was watching this thing with Tom Tillis. I don't know if you heard him. He's the Republican from North Carolina.
Is he the one that said he was retiring?
So he basically said, I'm out. I mean, and this is the interesting thing is that, it's basically, he's one of these guys. I was watching a little clip of him speaking, and he said, look, I'm concerned about, you're going to cut $26 billion just from North Carolina's Medicaid. It's like, you're going to cut taxes. You're clearly not going to use it to stop building bombs. You're going to cut old people off of Medicaid.
Yeah.
It's like, this is, like I was on board for the cuts. I was on board for, the efficiency, but then it's on the backs of old people.
There's fat everywhere.
Right.
I mean, please, there's fat everywhere. But when you start, I remember something a former fire chief I knew and worked for said, what price of life?
Right.
When he put that in the context of the argument that we were, at the time, Munster Fire Department was getting a privatized ambulance service.
Okay.
There was all this savings and this, and the town didn't have to worry. It could, get rid of so many insurance issues and so on if we just went private, right? And Chief got up and he said, well, what price of life here? You got the good care here with the Munster Fire Department and their EMTs. Why bring in a privatized service and kibosh, that part of the fire service in town? And now, 25 years later, guess who's potentially getting a new ambulance? Munster Fire Department. So, it's all very cyclical. I mean, how these things happen. Well, and if you don't pay attention the first time, you're going to get fooled the second.
And that's the funny thing. I always say, having done this for I don't know how many years now, these stories. This particularly, yes.
The media.
Doing the media.
Yes.
I'm part of that media. The media. I'm under the phone book. It's the media.
See, they're still independent, though.
Yeah.
That's still they're whom you work for. They're still fully independent media. Correct?
Right.
They are not beholden to any outside interest.
And that's why I've been able to do this for so long, because there's no outside interest telling you, no, he's he's a little too bald, a little too fat. We need somebody. The other day we were talking. I forget. We had the lieutenant governor on, and somebody. I got so many messages I want to talk about, but one of them was, you guys will never be successful because you need a cute girl in there with you. Had nothing to do with the content.
Who sent you that one?
It doesn't. They're all anonymous. But somebody literally
they're all
said,
misogynist?
apparently, said you need a young, cute girl on every successful show needs a cute. It's like, doesn't have nothing to do with content.
Well, Ryan Walsh used to look good in a dress.
Well, that was one
but
time.
That's years ago, and he's halfway across the country. Gosh.
But so that was the whole thing. It's sort of like this idea, like, well, you know, like where's your cute weather girl or whatever,
right,
and all these kind of things.
Right.
Like that's what the consultants tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, when it's independent media, you don't have all those frills.
We don't need all those frills. We can just sit here and do content.
That's right. Content.
And I think that's one of the things that I always said, if this was any other radio station, imagine how boring this would be. I'd be down someplace talking about the quilting bee and the bingo and stuff like that. But here in the region, there's always something to talk about.
One thing, it's funny, at any other radio station, well, this is the only radio station I've worked at.
Yeah.
And this is, for better or for worse, this is the only radio station that allows AKAs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm going to call you as Larry Kylan, but I'm going to call myself Bob.
Right.
For instance,
sure.
Not knocking Bob. I like you, Bob. That is still allowed, and I think sometimes that helps propagate the unease and dis-ease.
Sure.
Because you don't have a name attached to it. Chicago radio, you call, what's your name? Well, you got to give your name. I mean, that's enough. You want to give a fake name or whatever. I don't know how that all works. But here it's, and it becomes the same few nameless folks,
right?
Calling in and calling in and calling in. That's not content. See, that's just
but that's the thing is that the whole goal here is to talk about things to spur new callers. And I love hearing new callers.
Yes.
And I love finding out more about them because, you hit a certain topic and somebody calls in and said, I know about this, I do this, or, I dealt with this. And it's always good to have that. And that's one of the neat things about this radio station is anybody can call in 219-845-1100.
Is that still the number?
That's still the number. That's the one thing that
219-845-1100.
Yeah, it's the one thing that hasn't changed. So, but
maybe you can get through.
Yeah, but if you're an old fan of Larry the K from the old days,
or if you're not,
that's even better. We like that too.
I don't even matter. I was just asked to do this.
You do matter. You do matter because this is one of those things. This is the story of the region is the story of WJOB and the whole.
This is true.
The whole variety of people. So we do have our first caller of the week and of the morning. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Let's see.
Hi, this is a new caller. How are you guys?
So one of the
your guest looks so handsome. I remember when he was bigger than a house, but now he looks so fit and skinny. He's so great to have him back because I am a new caller. First time listener, never called before.
Do you want to guess who this is? Or?
I already know.
You already know? Okay, know. You were doing good, though.
Come on, Larry. You look great. I can't believe how skinny you are, dude.
Yes, thank you.
How'd you do that, bro?
Willpower.
Very good, man. You look great, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to get into that at some point because, yes, you've lost a lot of weight. And my callers are constantly on me. Last week they said I'm going to have a grabber at some point, and I need to stop drinking coffee.
You might want to follow the lead there, Chuck, because it looks like buttons number 3, 4, and 5 are about to give up the goat there.
Well, I'm glad you care so much about.
You like that? You like that joke, Larry?
I was just coughing, but okay. So besides calling and doing your voices, what else you got this morning?
Well, hey, I noticed there's peace over the Middle East.
Is there really? For the first time in 2,000 years, we've bombed the Middle East into peace. But I mean, is there really peace though?
No. You're incorrect. It's the first time since Trump 45 left office that there's peace in the Middle East.
Okay.
Because when he was in office, there was almost nothing going on in terms of war in the world, except Africa, and they think a little differently down there.
We don't count. We don't pay attention to that one. But there's been a ceasefire for like a week. There's been a ceasefire for a week. It's hardly to say there's peace in the Middle East. There's been a week of no bombing. Is that your metric? Nobody's been blown up this week, so that must be peace in the Middle East?
Well, I can say this as a certainty. If I was in Israel on October 7th in 2023, yeah, it's a hell of a lot better because a man, as the president of the United States, stepped up and said, hey, the world's had enough. You guys are going to have your little terrorist program blasted into the ground. You're going to be a parking lot now, looking just like a smooth pavement at Walmart, and everybody's going to calm down here.
You've put the K to sleep. He's only been here. He's been here 17 minutes. You've already put him to sleep.
Well,
okay.
When you're living under a bridge, it's a little rough life there. He's like Martin of the north side of Hammond there. So
okay, so what do you think that? Okay, so we had this discussion last week. We've been bombing for peace. It sounds like a new TV show. Bombing for peace.
Not bombing.
A new
not
game show.
bombing.
Who gets bombed today? No, the United States dropped
one massive assault
right
on the world's greatest terrorist country the planet has ever seen.
This week, right? Yeah.
And we put no. So here's the thing, Chuck. When you're a libertarian and you've got a party of like 3 people and 2 of them are wearing overalls, I know it's very novel to make fun of the rest of the world.
No, but I'm asking, how is it? I was looking back. I was thinking about the history of sort of our squabbles with Iran, going back to the hostages and Iran-Contra, which was a fun one.
The 50s.
Going back to the 50s. So
yeah, how you gonna blame us for this? I'm waiting for the twist here.
I'm saying that our solution has been, we drop a few bombs, you do a little bit of embargo, and like, what are we hoping to accomplish, I guess? And that's the thing. But then also this idea that your media is telling you that, every Pakistani guy in your neighborhood is an Iranian sleeper cell. But the other thing is,
you better watch out for those Iranian sleeper cells.
Oh, yeah, St. John is crawling with them.
Yep, I tell you.
So here's the problem, though, is that...
What media do you watch that tells you that?
Not the one you do, Mike.
All of them are talking about... I was just watching a thing about Iranian sleeper cells earlier. I'm like, that sounds like a nice... Is that like a retreat? Like a nice vacation spot? They have like mud spas? You go to the Iranian sleeper cells?
At the Iranian spa.
The Iranian sleeper cells, yes.
Hey, Chuck, let me ask you this. Have you ever been shot at? Have you ever had a bullet?
3 times, Michael. You're asking the wrong guy. 3 times.
Does a pellet
what
gun
do you know?
Does a pellet gun count?
What do you know, Mike?
Larry, calm down.
No, what do you know? Come on. What do you know about being shot at, buddy? I'm game. Go for it.
I do.
What do you know?
I've been shot at twice, and I've had to shoot at people 3 times.
Oh, thank God for you, Mike. Go for it.
So it's the same thing if you're living overseas and you've got to worry about missiles flying into your building every day, or guys getting on buses and blowing them up. Do you realize if they actually stop throwing missiles at each other, that if we take those little hooties over there and just flatten them, the Red Sea is going to be wide open for commerce.
Now.
Like
so
we don't have to
worry about the Straits of Hormuz anymore.
This guy's boring.
The price of oil will stay stable.
There's no other caller.
But here's the thing, though. People have been telling me this my entire life, and every time it's like we just got to blow up these guys, and then there'll be peace. And then never mind. Now it's a new guy we got to blow up. What I'm asking is that we just keep blowing people up and go, we just got to blow this guy up, and it will be good. Like that's the scenario. Like that's the solution. Just got to, we got to just replace this dictator with another guy.
Don't say it. Regime change. Don't say it.
No regime changes.
They're all voting for it, but don't say it, Chuck.
This idea that we've been meddling in everybody's elections, like, we keep meddling and then we keep making more trouble. We just need to meddle a little more. It's like the spending. We just need to spend a little more.
When Barack Obama sent half of his staff over to Israel.
Here we go. 10 years ago, right? Do all that.
But again, that's my question. It's like we've been asking every week is why is it our job to go meddle in elections, whether it's in the Middle East or in Africa? Like, why are we constantly meddling in elections? My entire life has been, we're going to go to this place and meddle in this election, and we're going to try to get regime change, and we're going to bomb for peace. Like,
well, get Obama on the phone and ask him, why would he meddle in the elections in Israel?
Why would we meddle in any elections?
Why would he do that?
That's why is it just Obama? They've all been involved in this. So,
when was Trump involved in any overseas election?
I'm asking.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet, but also, we dropped bombs last week. Is that not part of? Is that not part of pushing regime change? Is that not part of pushing change in a country when you blow up their? Basically, you start. What did he say? This isn't an attack on the Iranians. It's an attack on their nuclear program.
He specifically called Netanyahu and said, "Do not kill the leader." I don't care what you do.
But didn't they blow up? They had surgical strikes on the leadership's homes. Like they just tell them don't be home today. We're going to blow up your house.
Military leaders, Chuck.
What is that? What's the difference? What is the difference?
You're kidding, right?
I'm asking, what is the difference? You're like, oh, we're not going to kill the leader. We're just going to kill his entire staff and all of his generals. But we're not killing him, and it's not regime change. We're just killing all of his people.
Listen, I'll let you two numbnuts carry on, but let's not forget, under the last 4 presidents, only one of them has not allowed Russia to invade another country, and that was Donald Trump.
Oh, thank God.
That's simple.
He didn't allow it, though. I mean, that's the thing is that you say he doesn't allow it, but then also like this whole idea of, what did he say? That the war would be over in a week when he took over. And he's like, that's taking a little longer.
That's a little tough one. But if you really wanted an end in the war, Putin wouldn't have been in the first place, because when he threatened to go in to Ukraine on his first term, he let Moscow know. And Putin, he says, if you invade Ukraine, I'm going to blow up Moscow. And how did that work out?
And then,
after he blew up 880 Russian troops in Syria, that was the end of that. And you didn't hear a word out of Putin.
But then also Putin said, don't go bothering Iran. Don't get involved in that. And we got involved in that. So both bears are poking each other back and forth.
How's that working out, Chuck?
Well, it remains to be seen. It's been a week. But we do have to take a break. I appreciate the call. I'm sure Larry appreciates the call.
Horribly.
Sure the listeners appreciate the call. Thank you, Mad Mac. We're going to be back with more Summer of Chuck 2, the Electric Boogaloo with Larry the K here on WJOB.